I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sanje Joda Zoge Chonamna Chanju Bardo Dane Gyapsush Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Ye Dola Benjire Sanje Drubale Sho Sanje Joda Zoge Chonamna Chanju Bardo Dane Gyapsush Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Ye Dola Benjire Sanje Drubale Sanje Joda Zoge Chonamna Chanju Bardo Dane Gyapsush Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Dola Benjire Sanje Drubale Sho Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashamanaye Swaha Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashamanaye Swaha Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashamanaye Swaha. Okay, we are on page 72. Page 72, the second paragraph. We are almost completed. Let's read this again. There's 12 dependent arising, which comes from several different causes and from several different conditions. It's neither permanent nor impermanent. No, the first paragraph, I think. Something destructible or something that ceases has proceeded from time immemorial without interruption, like the flow of a river. Okay, this way done with this. This 12 dependent arising, which comes from several different causes and from several different conditions, is neither permanent nor impermanent. It's neither compounded nor uncompounded. Okay, that's way explained before. It's not without any cause or condition. It's not an experiencer, and it's not something exhaustible, something destructible, or something that ceases, has indeed proceeded from time immemorial without interruption, like the flow of a river. Nevertheless, there are 4 lings that serve as the cause for assembling this 12th dependent arising. Which 4? Okay, now there are 4 lings out of the 12, particularly picked up. Which 4? Namely, ignorance, craving, karma, and consciousness. The ignorance, craving, karma, and consciousness. First, consciousness. Consciousness functions as a cause by having the nature of a seed. So the analogy given here is the concept of the 12 links. The consciousness is given the metaphor of seed, of a seed. And karma functions as a cause by having the nature of field. Like the field, the karma as a field. It may be slightly different from how you and I would think of You and I would think of, most likely would think of consciousness like the field, karma like the seed. So this here is done very different way. Consciousness like the seed and karma is like the field. Ignorance and craving function as causes by having the nature of afflictions. And then more detail will be explained below. Karma and afflictions cause the seed of consciousness to grow. So, okay, from what we have understood, the 12 links is the karma is left as imprint on the consciousness, and then the karma germinates, and then you throw us into samsara. So what is this here? Is karma and afflictions cause the seed of consciousness. Consciousness is like the seed of consciousness to grow. Here, karma functions, and now this more detail. Here, karma functions as a field. Karma is like the field. For the seed of consciousness, karma is the field. Consciousness is like the seed. Craving moistens. The craving moistens, that's fine. Craving moistens, meaning the link number 8. Link number 8 is to germinate. It moistens. Moistens the seed of consciousness. And ignorance sows the seed of consciousness. What? This seed of consciousness, the consciousness is what the ignorance sows the seed of consciousness. Without these conditions, the seed of consciousness does not develop. Okay, so now what we need to think of doing is that how we understand it, the 12 links, keep it as it is. Meanwhile, now the new explanation, slightly different, the explanation is coming up. This explanation, see how you can adjust. You can adjust or you can understand it. Okay. Okay, the craving motions the seed of consciousness. Ignorance sows the. Okay, can you think of the 12 links the way we explained? Say the consciousness is like the container, and number 2, karma is like the seed to be implanted in the container of consciousness. This is how we understand it. Keep it as it is. Keep it as it is. Now, how we understand this one? How we understand this one? This is again very important. Very important. This is how. Or we can go into the nuances, we can go into our mind will become very flexible in the thought process. So here, the consciousness is seen as the seed. So whereas in the 12 links, how we understand it, consciousness seed is the container of the seeds of the karma. And then finally this seed, in a very, conventional example, the seed will grow into the shoot. You get it? Seed will grow into the shoot. So if this is how we understand in the conventional sense, when we die, our mind, what the future life is going to be like, is going to be wholly determined by our mind. Our mind. Because this body is not going to go. Our mind is going to travel. So mind is going to be, the seed is going to be the sprout. Sprout is the metaphor for the next life, and seed is the metaphor for this life. So from this life, what we have? Body and the mind. What we have is which travels to the next life is the mind. So this life, what we have is the seed. Next life, what we're going to get is the sprout. So this consciousness, meaning our mind, will go to the next life. So our mind is like the seed. You're getting it? In that sense, it's like the seed. But how we understand it, the 12 links, how we understand it otherwise, keep it there also. It has it. That is the one way of look at the 12 links. So our consciousness is like the seed in the sense that this, just as the seed gives rise to the sprout, the seed of consciousness of this life will give rise to the next life. Next life, the body is to be acquired newly from your next life's parents. So only this consciousness will travel. So this consciousness will be the seed, and what you go to the next life is going to be the sprout. Seedling Sutra. So in that sense, this consciousness is like the seed. Now, this consciousness and what decides, what is like the ground. The ground decides whether the seed will give rise to the result or not. Because if the ground does not have any nutrition, any water, nothing, then it will not give rise to the sprout. And if the ground has some nutrition, but is what nowadays with the chemical, with the artificial chemical soil fertilizers, they are totally destroyed. Then what has come out is just hollow. So the ground makes a very hollow. So this consciousness, what this consciousness will give rise to the next birth is determined by the karma. Karma is like the ground, because karma decides. So in that sense, the karma is like the field. Okay. Then the craving moistens the seed of consciousness. That's fine. So this consciousness, what form it will take, the karma will decide. But for the karma to decide, it should be the water of the craving. That's fine. Then the seed, what this consciousness is going to go, where this consciousness is going to go, is decided by the karma, the land. So whether the land will really give rise to what? Initial activation must be done by the ignorance. Initial activation. What's the initial job? Is to sow the seed. So that is done by the ignorance. Okay, let's read this again. Paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4. Common afflictions cause the seed of consciousness to grow. Here, karma functions as the field for the seed of consciousness. Craving moistens the seed of consciousness. Ignorance sows the seed of consciousness. Without these conditions, the seed of consciousness does not develop. In this process, karma does not think, I function as the field for the seed of consciousness. Nor does craving think, I moisten the seed of consciousness. Nor does ignorance think, I sow the seed of consciousness. Nor does the seed of consciousness think, I am produced by these conditions. Yet when the seed of consciousness grows, planted in the field of karma, moistened by the water of craving, and strewn with the manure of ignorance, the sprout of name and form manifests within whichever name and form meaning, next life, the sprout. What comes out next life? Name and form. Name comes from this life, your consciousness, and the form comes from the next life's parents. The sprout of name and form manifests within whichever mother's womb one will take the birth through. And this sprout of name and form is not created by itself, not created by another, not created by both, not created by Ishvara, not transformed by time, not derived from Prakriti, not dependent on the single factor, and not born without any cause. So this is what we learn from the external counter-dependent origination. Nonetheless, from the combination of the union of the parents, so how the child is conceived, how the rebirth happens, the factors are mentioned here. Nonetheless, from the combination of the union of the parents, number one. Number two, the period of the ovulation. Number three, and other condition, the seed of consciousness, filled with appetite, produces a sprout of name and form, within whichever mother's womb one will take the birth through. Okay, so the karma of the child, karmic connection with the child and the parents, this must be very strong. But sometimes the karmic connection can be very destructively strong. Sometimes very constructively strong. Karmic connection doesn't mean it's very positive. Sometimes the child can really create problems for the parents, acute problems. And sometimes the children, they are so good, because so good there's a problem. So good, when they become sick, problem, the pain in the parents is just acute. And terrible, there's a problem, pain is acute. So good, there's a problem. So bad, there's a problem. Yeah, this is karmic connection. Okay. For all the things that devoid of owner meaning external agent, Devoted owner. Devoted owner has the connotation not to be identified as the owner, the self, this being, not to be identified as the owner, oneself, or somebody else as the owner, and then you dictate on you. Devoted ownership, number 2. The first one is the devoted honor, devoted ownership, ungraspable. So this self, not as objectified, solidified to be graspable. Space-like meaning that we see as the self, but it's actually made of 5 aggregates, 6 elements. And this is very easy to see ourselves in the light of 6 elements. It's very easy. For example, if you don't analyze it, but then and then particularly if somebody else tells you, yes, there's a self, there's some solid self there, the body. So sometimes we see some movies where the person dies, where the shape of the person moves away, right? Giving us the impression this is how we are indoctrinated to believe in some objectified self. So in actuality, who we are, that's very simple. For example, say some people identify me as a Dorji, as a male. What is male is that the body. The body is nothing, bunch of atoms. On the atomic level, where is male, where is female? It makes no sense there on that level. So this is it. And then say the person is kind, not kind, and so forth. It's all the mind. And the person is very competent. What means competent is the mind, and physical agility is there, and the mind is the sharp, or the mind is very tough or skillful. Then we say this person is very competent. Oh, this person is very dull. The mind is not active, and physically is very clumsy, right? So physical and the mental, that's it. Besides these two, there's nothing there is a sort of entity outside besides these two. All what we are is purely on the basis of what a body and mind is. For example, the table. There's nothing as a table, top plank is not a table, and the legs are not the table. Besides these two, there's no table there. Like in this house, the walls, ceiling, floor, windows, that's it. This is all. Besides these, there's nothing there's a hall. But we see as a hall. We see as a whole on these parts, then a mind creates a sense of whole. Right? Besides this, there's nothing as a whole. So, this is no exception to anything. Everything that exists simply exists by dependence on their parts. That's it. This is reality. This is the dependent origination. Whereas, failing to, this is what the Buddha taught. We are so lucky. In fact, I personally, as I become older, is the catchment of the age, and then meeting with many people, meeting with scientists, meeting with philosophers, psychologists, neuroscientists, physicists, meeting with the educationists. The more I meet with these people, the more I see the efficacy of the dependent origination. Then the more admiration that I feel towards the Buddha is amazing. And you get a glimpse of this. It has a tremendous power to quell your mental agitation, emotions to better control. It's amazing. So the more the more I meet with other people, experts from different religions, particularly experts in different religions, I meet with them, and then we discuss the teaching of the Buddha is so precious. And then how come that many people, they are more intelligent than us, but they don't simply meet with the teaching of the Buddha. They don't feel connected. They are not connected. It's so precious for us to be in the first place, to be connected with this, and then actually go into this, delve into this, rather than just leaving it there on the basis of the connection. Okay, so this is about dependent origination. Space-like meaning, okay, page 73, page 73, first paragraph, third last line. Space-like meaning that objectively nothing's there as a self. What you see is just 6 elements. But where's the self? It's just nowhere to be seen. Besides the 6 elements, there's nowhere to be seen as a self. So the self is space line in that sense. Okay, space line, the nature is the mark of illusion. So then the self, does it not exist? Of course it does exist. Of course it does exist. But how does it exist? When you go to this object, just the 6 elements are there, that's it. Just 6 elements. And then, besides 6 elements, there's 6 elements are not the self. Besides 6 elements, there's no self. And self does exist how? How? Where's the self? Anybody quick? Where's the self? Where? For the mind? Where's the self?
The basis of the act.
It does not exist. Okay. So if we say it does not exist, then we have the 2 lines, right? Do you remember? Day 1 we discussed that. Do things exist? What are the 2 questions? What are the 2 questions? Yes? You said? The first question. Do things exist? What's the answer?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, only love. If you say no, then what's the problem? Nihilism. Then only love will go to nihilism, right? Okay. So what I'm going to say is that the self does not exist in the ultimate domain. Self doesn't exist. Does it exist, Dilshad? Hey, Dilshad. Does self exist?
No.
Well, she's the one who said the first question is, do things exist? What's the answer? Do things exist? Answer is yes. Where's the self then? If it exists, where is it?
Subjective.
Ravi is raising his hands. His hands are his self? Is it self? No. Where's the self? Where's the self? Oh, the stencil is put into his chest. His chest is the self. Where's the self?
Merely imputed. Merely imputed.
Okay, this is very important. This is very important. Where's the self? I'm here. Right? The chest, you say no. What do you put in the chest? Chest, my chest, and me, this self, these 2 are the same entity. 2 different isolates. You're getting it? It's the same entity, one entity with 2 isolates. So this is the self. Yes, it is self. And after seeing me, still if you want to look for the self, you look for the ultimate self. After seeing me, right? After seeing each one of us, after seeing yourself, then you look for the self, you look for the ultimate self. Tell me why. After seeing you, still you ask where's the self. How can you say that you are looking for the ultimate self? How can you say that? Anybody?
Crossing the conventional.
Yes, well, this is very important. Say, as far as possible, when we study these concepts, we should be able to articulate concepts well. So when I said, after seeing the self, still if you ask, where is the self, then you are looking for the ultimate self. You are looking for the objective self. How? Because we have crossed the border of the conventionality. What is conventional self? So when you were in school or in college, university, there is the attendance. You have to give the attendance, right? Yes, no?
Yes.
Attendance. So how do you give the attendance?
Teacher calls your name.
Teacher said, Wangdila, then the total alumni teacher raised hands. Yes, sir. Right? Actually, Wangdila is missing. This is known as proxy. Right? So those people who smile, they were the Charu and all this, they must have given lots of proxy attendance. Yes? I can see that, yeah. Okay. So this is gonna, after seeing you, and still you say, where is you? This is not how the teachers, where is Shabira? Here. After seeing Shabira, finish. This is a convention. If you ask more, this is not how the conventional world look for the self. So still if you ask, after seeing this person, still if you ask, where is this person? You have crossed the border of the conventionality of the person. You cross the border of the conventionality, you reach into ultimate. Ultimately, nothing can be found. The self cannot be found. Okay, so it is now, if you cannot find the self, through this analysis, then does the self exist or not? Does it exist or not? Rabiji? Yes, yes, of course. Although not objectively, it does exist. How? Subjectively. Subjectively it exists. Conventionally it exists. What do you mean by subjectively it exists? It means that objectively nothing is there. Something appears. Okay, look at the other person. Quick, look at the other person. Okay. Well, Jack is so excited to look at Okay. So the point is that when you look at the other person, something appeared to your mind, right? Something in the form of a person's face appeared to your mind? Yes. So something appeared. What appeared to your mind, when you go towards the object to look for, you will just see the atoms. None of the atoms is the one that appeared to your mind, but something appeared. Do you agree with me? That undeniably something appeared to your mind as the person's face. Do you agree with me or not? Undeniably something appeared to your mind. Appeared meaning subject or object? Appearance is the object or the subject? Subject. It appears to the subject, no doubt. No doubt. But when you go towards the object, it's not there. When you go towards the object, it's just a bunch of atoms, that's it. What appeared was not there. So something appeared, undeniably something appeared. But when you go towards the object, it's not there. So what is left? What is left is just appearance is left. You're getting it? Just the appearance is left. If it's just appearance without the object, then it's like illusion. Illusion is what appears to us, and when you go there, you don't, nothing's to be found there on the object. It's like illusion. So the self is like illusion. It's like dream. It's like mirage. It appears undeniable things. Okay, look at it around the hall, and the fan moving, right? And Abhanji taking the video. No doubt these things appeared. Did they appear? Yes. Undeniably they appear to us, to a subject. But objectively, when you go to look for these things, what appear to you, you will never find them. So which means, where are they? They are just appearance. Right? It appeared, but from the object it's not there. So it's just appearance. Appearance to the subject. Because it's just appearance, it is like dream. Dream also appears to your mind, but it's not really there. Illusions appear to your mind, they are not really there. So it's described as the nature is the mark of illusion. There is no deficiency of requisite causes and conditions. For instance, the I consciousness arises by way of 5 principles. Okay, this is interesting. Usually we talk about how the I consciousness arises. I consciousness arises by the 3 factors, which we discussed earlier. By the 3 factors.
Because you just said that, like for appearance, suppose that's how the I consciousness would see it. But if it's going to be like, I have a pen in my hand, and of course I see a pen is there in front of me.
Yes.
So of course I want to feel the pen there.
Okay, this is very interesting. Did you follow what Raviji is saying? Raviji, what is saying is that, okay, look at this. I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this. Appearance is taking place, no doubt. No doubt, one appearance is taking place. Now the appearance, it can be 2. It can be mere appearance, just appearance, or appearance plus the reality, may tally. Right? You go to the object, You may find it or you may not find it. If you don't find it, it's purely subjective. If you find it, it is objective. Okay, now we see that, okay, if you go towards the object, you just end up seeing the atoms. None of the atom is the pen, that's fine. But even without looking at it, you could feel it. You could feel it, right? What is that? There's something there. There's something there more than the appearance. You can actually feel it, literally could feel it. That is there. If that is there, this is objective existence. So how would you explain this? Anybody?
That is also an appearance, a feeling of the shape and the feeling of the pen.
Feeling of the touch, the tactility. That's very important. Okay. Now, not only when you speak about the appearance, okay, this English word is a little complicated. Appearance, applicable to the perceptive, the visual, but equivalent. What is this act of appearance to the visual, to the eyes? There's equivalent action related to the touch. Same the sound. All the senses there. But the touch is very strong. You're getting it? Touch. Eyes are very dominating. Touch is very strong. Touch gives you this solidity there. Touch gives you a feeling of solidity. It's really there. There's really something there. You're getting it? There. Whereas the eyes are dominating. Of the five senses, eye consciousness is extremely dominating. But the touch is extremely powerful. Dominant, powerful, these two are different. Yes, it's really there, I could feel it. Which means a touch. Even the touch is deceptive. Right? Even the touch is deceptive. Even the touch. Saying something, the English, I don't know, in English, in Tibetan, none. Appearance for in Tibetan is a none, this word none. So this word is applicable to all the five senses. Whereas in English, appear is not, it may not be applicable to the other senses. Applicable, not applicable. The tactility appears.
Typically appearance is eyes.
Exactly, yeah. So the point is that there is, what is the equivalent, what the appearance is for the eyes, what is that word for the touch?
Sensation.
Sense. Okay, that's a sense. Sense is a very strong word. Sensation. Sensation.
Solidity.
No, solidity is modified version after the end of that. Sensation, feel. Feel is more subjective, the subject. Appear is more the object. Appearance is happening because of the subject. Appear is the same. Object appears. The pen appears to my eye consciousness. My mind apprehends the pen. Two actions. Likewise, the tactility, the roughness of the surface. What? Appears?
We wouldn't describe the surface touch.
No, what I'm saying. So the interplay of the body sense, interplay of the body sense and the object, the roughness of the object, interplay of the eye consciousness and the pen. The pen appears, eye consciousness apprehends. Likewise, interplay of the body sense and the roughness of the object. Roughness of object.
Feel or touch?
No, roughness of object doesn't feel. The body sense consciousness feels. Are you getting what I'm saying? That okay, first we have to understand this.
Texture.
For the eye consciousness is very easy. There's a very common English word is there. Eye consciousness interacts with the pen. So when the eye consciousness interacts with the pen, there are two things happening. The pen appears to the eye consciousness, number one. Eye consciousness apprehends the pen. You got it? Likewise, the same thing is happening to the body consciousness and the roughness, smoothness of the object. So the object, what? We don't call it appearance.
There's no equivalent term.
There's no equivalent term.
Because appearance is
No, appearance is technically with the visual.
It is because it comes, visually it comes because there's a distance between subject and object, and where the distance can a little bit, obstruct the appearance of how object appears.
You then keep in mind that the concept, as long as you understand the concept, this concept is applicable not only to the eye consciousness, it's applicable to all the five senses. This concept, you're getting it? Concept. In Tibetan, concept.
No, I said contact.
No, contact is different. Contact, both are involved. Appearance is the object. Apprehension is the subject. Both is the contact. You're getting it? These are nuances.
How do you explain if somebody cannot see, they're blind? How would you explain this?
Okay, for them, the pen does not appear. Okay, but we can say pen appears to the mental consciousness. For us, for those with proper eyesight, the pen appears to the eye consciousness plus the mental consciousness. For those without the vision, the pen does not appear to the eye consciousness, but it appears to the mental consciousness. You getting it? How? Through other means. The sense, the body sense is very sharp in them. Through this, then they get the information is passed on to the mental consciousness. Mental consciousness decides whether there's a pen, no pen, good pen, bad pen, all decided by the mental consciousness. Information has to be passed to the mental consciousness. Mental consciousness, they are not lacking. They may be better than ours. When one sense is missing, then the other senses, they become even more powerful. Yeah. Okay, good.
One question. First paragraph. You said there will be a karmic connection between a child and a parent.
Yes, yes.
Which could be positive or negative. So that will be there with a lot of people out there, right? A lot of parents you may have a connection. How does it actually pick, this is my parent?
Okay, this is a good question. This is like Ganga River picking up the Bay of Bengal. Not, what are the other seas? Arabian Sea, it doesn't pick up the Arabian Sea, it picks up the Bay of Bengal. How? Purely dependent origination. Purely. Right? Purely dependent origination. And let's say, when you go somewhere, it's very strange. When you go, let's say, somebody goes to a new place, in a new place there are hundreds of people there. And somehow you feel more connected with somebody. Right? You feel more close to somebody. Person may not be so prominent, oh, you're like celebrity, okay, I'm your fan, that's fine, this is one thing. But somebody who is less known, or with low profile, maintaining very low profile, less known to others, still you feel more connected with this person. It happens. It's purely because of your, say, the dependent origination, dependence on your connection with these people in the past. In good ways, bad ways, both are there. Both are there, not necessarily good ways. Sometimes to call for, to claim the debts. To claim the debts of your past life, they come to take birth as a child. Right? They extract everything you have. Finish. Oh, this is what I've seen. Whatever you have, put all your savings extracted, effectively extracted, and you are left with nothing. It happens just to collect the debt from the past life. Yeah, it happens. So collect the debt is not a positive karmic connection, right? Whereas we can make it positive karmic connection. We can make it. So which means those people who already came in contact with the Dharma, it is their responsibility. Even those people who come to collect the debt, to extract everything from the parents, they only are opening new chapters of suffering. They suffer, they make the parents suffer. To make the parents suffer is a million times more negative karma than, creating the same problem on somebody else unknown. So therefore they open a new chapter of creating suffering for themselves. So for that matter, the parents who are connected with the Dharma, it is their responsibility to see how to benefit them, to give them direction. Don't expect perfection. In worst cases, go for the less evil. In worst cases. Otherwise, and for the parents, don't ever, okay, come to CKSL, don't drag the children like this. They can become averse to CKSL. They can become averse to Dharma. And then, simply because you are doing good with the Dharma, don't scold your children too much. Right? You scold too much. My mother, earlier when she was not going to CKSL, she doesn't used to scold me much. Nowadays she used to scold me so much. It's because of CKSL. Because of Buddhism, that's Buddhism. Right? Then later, earlier, he or she must be keeping some Buddha statue as a decoration. Even that you remove. You getting it? So these are the skillfulness that we have to adopt. Okay.
So the other condition could also include the siblings, not just the parents?
Of course. The siblings, parents, many factors involved. For example, even the flow of the Ganga towards the Bengal, I said, many factors are there. For example, the land. The land, overall, Gangotri and West Bengal should be lower. Not only that, in between there should not be a highland. In between there is a highland, even if Gangotri, the West Bengal is lower, it will not flow towards it, it will go towards another place, Arabian Sea. So therefore, evenly speaking, on average, everything should be going lower down till, and evenly. With respect to other places, this one should be particularly going lower towards Bengal. And then the gravity. And then not only gravity from some other planets should not be bigger than the gravity of the Earth. Some other planets, then the water may flow in the other planet rather than Bengal. Right? And then the source Gangotri, the snow should not melt directly. If it melts directly, then the river Ganga will stop altogether, it will not flow. So many factors involved, many factors. Yeah.
If the parents, for example, say, I'm offering it to you, the child is complicated.
Say it again.
The child, like you said, for example, is extracting the debt from the past life.
No, I'm not saying all, right? Some.
No, some. Suppose some of that particular example, single example. If the parent who's a Dharma, suppose a Dharma practitioner, they know something, and they say, we're offering it to you, my child, take. So the child doesn't have to extract it, he takes it. So in that case, can the child's karma be still, is it going to be the same?
Okay, let's say the child extract, say 50,000 rupees from the parents. One. Number two, in this second scenario, the parents have happily give you 50,000 rupees. Two. Child's the karma, possible karma is exhausted. In both cases. In the first case, not only the karma is exhausted, the child is opening new karma of suffering terribly in the future. In the second case, the child is not opening new karma. Only the first karma exhausts. That chapter is closed, finished. Right?
In the second case, also parents do not open a new chapter of suffering because they practice religiosity.
Okay, it was my child. Never know my child. I don't know whether it's generosity or not.
Anyway, that's a sense to see. I don't want to give to my child, but I can do.
Okay, it is far better than to be stingy, right? Very sensibly. Okay, you need it. I know you need it. I'll give you. Don't worry. If I'm not to give you, who will give you? Don't worry. I'll give you. You need it, right? But not lavishly giving. Some parents lavishly give, right? Then the children are spoiled. Then the parents are responsible, not the children. Lavishly give, then the children, they end up into going to nightclubs, pubs. Because they have everything. They have the money and the companion, the bad companion is already there. The children, they are then spoiled. Here, it is not the children's responsibility, it is the responsibility. Both responsible are the same. Parents are equally responsible for that, for spoiling the child. It's not only the child. No. So skillfulness for the parents is so important. Yes?
When children are young, say age 5, 10, 12, age 12, and if they fight among themselves, they sometimes fall into the name or even, not meaningfully, but hit each other, like, a little bit of anger. So does that also create any sort of
Karma? Yes, of course. Karma is created. Again here, it is the parents' responsibility. Parents, skillful parents can do a lot, do magic to the children. To the children. Say, when the two children, 3 children, 4 children, when they've been harmonious, friendly, then the parents show joy and organize something, a small tea party. When the children fight, they don't give anything to the children, they let them fight, right? Then the children will get a sense that, okay, when we fight, we don't get anything. We don't even get the daily chocolate. When we are very friendly, my mother is so happy, my father is so happy, they give us like a treat. Then they get a sense, automatically they become more harmonious. Automatically, right? All these skills are there, right? And they say, okay, some of the parents, not nowadays, the younger one beats the child, beats the elder one, right? And the younger one beats the elder child, and the younger one cries. And the mother comes and beats the elder child. Then the elder child will really build a sense of hostility towards the mother. You're getting it? This is unskillfulness of the mother. Mother must see the things holistically. Yeah. And at the same time, right, don't easily scold. The moment you easily scold, your scold will have no value in the first place. And the children will start to hate you. Because they see many other parents who never scold their children. The children are very happy. My mother used to scold that the moment I lift the pen, my mother scolds. The moment I eat a food like this and think, my mother scolds, you're not eating food. The moment I eat, my mother scolds, you're eating so fast. Right? So whatever I do, my mother scolds. This is really unskillful. Don't scold too much. Okay, this is a different story. Okay. Okay, we continue. 73, page 73, paragraph number 2. For instance, I consciousness arises by way of the 5 principles. Which 5? Namely, the I consciousness arises based on the I on which it depends. So for that, I sense power is required. I sense power. Okay, shall I ask you the question? You will ask me a question. If I ask a question, don't expect an answer from me. Shall I ask a question? Huh? Okay, in the Shah is more courageous. You don't show anger towards the Shah, right? Okay, the question is, eyeball that we see is not I sense power. I consciousness is not I sense power. You're getting it? I sense power. What is I sense power? It talks about I sense power like a medium. Where is it? What is it? What is it? Where is it? Where is it? It is in the eyeballs. In the eyeballs. Eyeball is the I sense organ, not the I sense power. Eyeball, the visible eyeball, which the doctors can see. which the ophthalmologists can see, right? That is the eye sense organ, not the eye sense power. Some people translate it as eye sense power, eye sense faculty. It's not eye sense faculty or eye sense power, it's eye sense organ, the visible one. Eye lens, there is whatever is visible, this is not eye sense power. Eye sense power is something which we cannot see. Don't forget it. What is eye sense power? Where is it? Where is it? It is in the eye sense organ, that's for sure. What is it? It is a very subtle physical form, which we cannot see. Likewise, ear sense power, nose sense power, tongue sense power, body sense power, they are not visible. They do exist, without which the sense consciousness cannot operate. Right? It does exist. Okay, that is the eye sense power. For instance, eye consciousness is the result. Eye consciousness, you see flower, beautiful temperature, say 22 degrees centigrade in Bangalore, it's beautiful temperature. So all these things, your sense consciousness, your body will feel the very moderate temperature, and your unconscious can see things, your ear can hear things. Okay, so these consciousness, there are 5 sense consciousness, physical sense consciousnesses. 5 physical sense consciousnesses. For them to arise, we need the eye sense power, which is not the eye sense organ, number 1. For instance, the eye sense consciousness arises by way of the 5 principles. Which 5? Namely, eye consciousness arises based on the eye. Eye meaning not the biological eye, is the eye sense power. Eye sense power, number 1. Form, physical form meaning the flower. Let's say the flower, there's a flower in his right hand. Physical form, external object of form is required, number 2. Then the light, in absence of light you cannot see this, number 3. Then space between your eyes and this flower. Space. Then what? Okay, and appropriate attention. Say, you have to pay attention. What is this? In other words, immediately preceding consciousness is required. These 5 factors are required. Generally, in the Buddhist psychology, you find a mention of 3 factors. The object, your eye sense power, and the immediate preceding consciousness. Only these 3 things are mentioned here. Now here in this text, it is explained in more detail. With these 3 things, plus the space and the light. 5 are mentioned here. Light, space, and the appropriate attention. Here, the eye functions as the basis for the eye consciousness. Eye meaning eye sense power, functions as the basis for the eye consciousness. Because, okay, when you put it closer towards the eyes, this eye sense power will not help you to smell it. This eye sense power will not help you to smell it. It will not help you to hear the sound. It will only help you to see. Ear sense power will, okay, what's the color of this? What's the color of this? Then you keep it close to your ears. No. Ear sense power does not have the capacity to see the colors. It is something unique for the sound, not anything else. Okay. So that is the main support. Here, the eye functions as a basis for eye consciousness. Form, physical form of the flower, functions as object of perception, for the object perception, for the eye consciousness. Light functions as the visibility. The space functions by not obstructing. Appropriate attention, immediate preceding consciousness, functions as mental reflection. Without these conditions, the eye consciousness cannot arise. But when the inner sense source meaning eye, yes, with the English, inner sense source, comma, the eye, this has many connotations. innocent source, hyphen, the I, innocent source, comma, the I, comma, which means what is the innocent source? The I. Okay, so the innocent source meaning, innocence power or the innocent source, the I, essence power, is not deficient if the essence power is there. Likewise, when form, light, space, equilibrium, attention are not deficient, then from the coming together of all these five factors, I consciousness invariably arises. The I does not think, I serve as the basis for the I consciousness. Nor does form think, I serve as the object of perception for the I consciousness. Nor does light think, I function as visibility for the I consciousness. Nor does space think, I do not obstruct the I consciousness. Nor does appropriate attention think, I provide mental reflection for the I consciousness. Nor does the I consciousness think, I am produced by these conditions. Yet the I consciousness is born or produced from the presence of these conditions. Similarly, a corresponding analysis should be applied to the rest of the faculties. What are the rest of the faculties? Ear, nose, tongue, body. Good. Here, there is nothing whatsoever that transmigrates from this existence to the next. Okay, transmigration. We die, we take birth to the next life. So we transmigrate. So here it says, here there's nothing whatsoever that transmigrates from this existence to the next. Because there is no deficiency of the requisite causing conditions, the result of karma nonetheless manifests. When all the causing conditions are intact, then your next rebirth arises, manifests. It is like, okay, now the examples are given. There are three examples given. The first one, it is like appearance of the reflection of a face on the surface of a well-polished mirror. When you look at the mirror, you see the reflection of the mirror. So your face did not jump into the mirror. Your face did not jump into the mirror. Your face, the gap between the mirror and you, and then the mirror surface being very clean, and the mirror having the capacity to reflect things. When all these factors, and the light, when all these factors are intact, then the reflection automatically comes into being. It's not that from the face something goes there. No. Just all these factors come together, then the reflection is created. But depending on these factors, the reflection in the mirror originates. Okay, this is one example. Likewise, say we die here in Bangalore, for example. We die here in Bangalore, and we have to take birth where? Hyderabad? Huh? Shabir, where's your mother? Hyderabad, yeah. Okay, so if you take birth in Hyderabad, you die from Bangalore. So what travels? So it says that your karma and your karmic connection with the future parents in Hyderabad, all these things are intact. Then, without any objective substance there, traveling from one life to the other, without anything there from objective self there, transmigrating with all these causal conditions intact, then your rebirth arises there. You getting it? Yes, Shweta?
So I have a stupid question.
Yes.
So it is related to links 8 and 9.
Say it again?
It is related to links 8 and 9, craving and grasping.
Yes, oh yes.
Okay, so for example, when someone dies, and at the time of dying, this person thinks, I don't want to be reborn again. Strongly don't want to be reborn again. So, would this person be reborn or not? How would it work?
Okay, this is a good question. Anybody who can help me? So this person, realized emptiness or not realized emptiness? Okay, no realized emptiness. Like this, the wife of the professor?
Yes.
The wife of the professor, you remember the story? No, I shared it last year. No, 10 years ago I shared it to this group. When did I share this? Huh? 2 days ago I shared this story with you. What is that? You said, tell me, what is the story? You don't remember? Malika, what's the story? You don't remember? Tenzila?
You were having a dinner at Cambridge with your friend professor?
Not Cambridge. This is edition of the edition by the commentator. When I die, then Tinsila will write a book. Okay, Tinsila wrote a book saying that, thus have I heard once. Geshe was given teaching. So then he said, and when he was in Cambridge, I didn't say this. This commented his edition, not in Cambridge, in India, to be very precise, in Delhi University. Then,
so you were having a dinner, food, and then you were discussing some philosophy.
yes, with the professor and the professor's wife.
And Professor White said, I don't understand anything. And all you were discussing rebirth.
Yes.
I don't want to.
Yes, I don't want to. No, I'll not come back. I'm frustrated with samsara. I don't want to come back. I don't want to come back. Oh yeah, how many? Do you remember the story now?
No, I
Oh, you good. Manu, you remember it now? Charu? Okay, everybody remembers now. Shabir, don't remember. What happened? Okay. Somebody has to share this story with Shweta, you remember it? Okay, share this with Shabir. Okay, huh?
I don't know.
Are you sure? You must be joking. No?
The area is outside.
Jack? You remember?
Yesterday you told.
Do you remember that?
I do fortunately because of the refreshment.
Yes. Manju? You remember it? Smita? And then Avanji? And then, okay, how come? Shantideva did not remember. Shavira doesn't remember. Remember Ratana? Yes. Okay, so the point is that the Arjuna, you remember?
But not all the details. I remember the broad outlines.
It must have shared it in the afternoon session. They did the afternoon session.
No, it's morning only.
I see. Okay, so you have to listen to the stories again, right? What I'm saying is that if somebody says, no, I will not come back, I'm frustrated with samsara, right? Number 8 and 9 is missing. Will this person take birth or not? That's my question. This is Shweta's question. Yes? How? Answer is yes. Without the self-grasping ignorance eradicated, without realizing emptiness on a very high level, no matter how much you say, I don't want to come back to samsara, invariably the person will come back. How? Number 8 and 9 is missing. Is still missing. How?
But 1, 2, 3 is very strong.
1, 2, 3 is very strong, yes.
The craving
Unless,
1, 2, 3 is strong, yes. So
unless the person would not realize
no. 8, 9. What happened to 8, 9? This is the question.
8, 9 doesn't have to be craving for the life. It can be craving to end everything. It can be different kind of attachment. It doesn't have to be just for the next life.
Okay. Anybody else?
attachment for their life. The craving is for the craving.
Craving.
Yeah.
Number 8, craving for.
Attachment for the current life.
No, she doesn't have.
From the
I don't know. I cannot say she doesn't have. But this is what is coming from the heart. She said, no, I'm fed up with something. I will not come back.
8 and 9 could be from some of the other lifetimes.
Say it again.
8 and 9 could be from other lifetimes.
No.
So it's an
No, it must be germinated in this
At
life.
the time of death, if that attachment and craving can become stronger.
But in the first place, forget about stronger. It's not coming there. See, I will not come. Yes, Jack.
Whether going karma, from what you talked about this morning, you talked about at least 2 life cycles.
2 lives requires 2 lives. 2 lives.
And you said those lives could be beside one another or away from one another, etc. So, but you said that the determining factor was the throwing karma, which rose in 10. and it was dependent upon whichever one was the strongest from the past.
Yes.
So in this case, whether or not I was craving or grasping, I'm still going back to the strongest
Number two.
karma from the past.
Strongest number 2 will be picked up and has to be germinated first. Has to be matured first by number 8 and 9. They are not ready. Strongest one will take the lead to become number 10. To become number 10, it must be assisted by number 8 and 9.
8 and 9.
She is not craving to be born again, but she may be craving to live and to keep this karma.
Okay, this is good. If you ask her, okay, then this is not so good. I say, okay, you don't want to come back to samsara, you don't want samsara, then you can leave now. She said no. Right? She said no. Which means that although superficially, right, very tired of the samsaric engagement and so forth, but if you say now you can leave anytime. Right? She used to say no. Right? She said no, which means that the desire to live is still there.
Or is she renouncing samsaric life?
Yeah, what if she was not frustrated and she's renouncing?
What do you mean by renouncing? What do you mean by renouncing?
I asked the question.
No, happily.
I'm not asking you. I am in a way putting it in a rhetorical form. Say, what is renunciation? It's not just to say that, okay, I'll renounce, I'll go to the Himalaya, and I'll
No,
become
happy to let
ascetic.
go of life.
Let go of life, and she's going out somewhere. Right?
Not necessarily.
Then what does she do?
The example you gave was she's frustrated with samsara and she doesn't.
Then what does she do?
What
Let's
she's
say.
not frustrated. She just feels like I've lived enough and I don't want to be reborn.
Okay, but in her case, definitely if some person, now you can leave the world, she would say no. But there are some people who said yes. There are some people who said yes. I've lived enough, now my body can sustain it and give me the injection. There are some people. And then there's some countries they don't allow this, some country allow this. Then they move from this country to the other country where it is legal. They do it there. This is very scary. Okay, so there, tell me, instead of this professor, tell me this person who says, no, I don't want to live anymore. Right? Please take me to this country where it is legal. Then the family members, they literally took him there. Right? What about this person? This person will come back or not to samsara? Oh, I don't want to come back to samsara at all.
Yes.
Yes, so the person will come back or not come back? For to come back, there should be the dependent origination. The factors dependent on which to come back should be there. What are the factors? Karma. Karma is there, guaranteed. Number 1, karma is there. Then karma must be matured by the number 8, number 9. Where is number 8, number 9? Wanting to live.
Number 9, Geshe, there is some innate grasping also. In grasping, there are 2 types. Acquired and innate.
Yes.
So even if we have eliminated the acquired, this will have the innate grasping.
Listen, innate attachment, innate craving, innate grasping. Like what? Can you just spell out as to how, how we can, what clue we have to say that they still have this innate grasping?
I think it's because, for example, people who are ready to give up this life, they are fed up with this life, averse to this life, but still desire some kind of relief from that, which is, kind of an attachment.
That's true. That's true. And for those people who commit suicide, not the suicide bombers. Suicide bombers, they have a different agenda. But they think that this self will go to paradise. Right? Okay, attachment is there. Okay, whereas those people who commit suicide because of excessive pain or excessive depression, they think that if I terminate this life, then this is the end of my depression. Then I will be free of depression. I'll be there without the depression. This I, clinging to this I, still there. Right? So this is an attachment. Still attachment is there. So these are the attachments.
Committing suicide itself is a negative karma, right? That becomes a drawing karma.
100%. No, the question is the suicide just terminating, not wanting to come back. Right? You're accumulating negative karma, that's it. But the point is that this karma should be germinated by number 8 and number 9. Where is number 8 and number 9 this question? Yes, Jeff?
Going back to this example,
Yes.
what you just said, which was when I want to leave this world, you want to be free of what it is, and there's an I. Okay? Well, a large percentage of the world doesn't believe in coming back.
That's true, that's true.
So they're not worried about the I, they are saying, I am terminating because either this is the end, because this is all there is, or there's a heaven or a hell or whatever the... So how does that work?
Let's say the heaven or hell, that is very clear. Then the grasping to the self, this is there. And many others who don't believe, okay, you die, finish. That's the end. Right? That's the end. This is the belief. Some.
Okay.
That's the end, you die, finish. There's no rebirth, there's no hell, heaven, you finish. Your body dies, you finish.
No attachment to grasping.
Okay, no, I'm not talking about that. This is, what people have. What people have. So these people, this person, if somebody comes, right, to help him, I'll help you, right? I'll help you, I'll kill you. He says, no.
That's a supposition.
No. Don't say, this supposition is supposition. Jack saying that this supposition is a supposition.
You are
No, listen. So this person, in this life, said what you are today is because of yesterday. Yesterday was a very selfish person. Today, suddenly you become a Nobel laureate, Nobel Peace Prize winner. You will not become. Impossible. Yesterday, very selfish person. Only think about self. Today, you become a very compassionate person. Impossible. Cause and effect. Yesterday was a cause. With that amount of cause, with no cause for the person to become very compassionate the very next day, you can't expect the result, the person to be very compassionate. So what was yesterday will be carried on to today. What today will be carried on towards the tomorrow. So this person, we have to check a person's life. In his life or in her life, is there a selfishness or not? This is you have to check. If there's no selfishness, and the fact that many of these people, they are to some extent selfish.
Most of us are.
Because they see that their children, their loved ones are crying, they're requesting them, please don't do it. Still they want to do it. They discount the sentiments of other people. It's very selfish. This is there. This is there. This selfishness. No, I will do what I want. This is the attachment. I don't care about what you think. I will do what I want. I want to die. That's the attachment. Okay. The answer is attachment is there. Attachment is there. Attachment. So all these, but there's no life. There's no rebirth after that. But this heaven, this one. Then there's no rebirth. This is also what Arjuna said is acquired. Acquired from the influence of this life. So must be born in a place where the family is very relaxed. No belief in religion. No belief in religion is another religion. Right? It makes you not to believe in things. Believing and not believing in things is another form of dogma. So these are additional things. The real thought process, even a person cannot articulate. You have to know the psychology so well. From there you can see how selfish the person is. Right? If this grasping is not there, self-grasping is not there, how will the person behave? The person would not care about dying. Would not care about living, not care about dying. Right? The person will operate on the basis of the purpose. If the self-grasping is not there. The person is so insistent, I will die, I will go now, I will leave now. I don't want to live anymore. Because he is finding difficult with his body. The body is very crippled. The body cannot, move the way he or her younger days, like the younger days. So therefore, this is like prison. So the way the prisoner wants to escape, the person wants to escape from that. And the person cannot articulate that. It is actually that the self-grasping is vividly there, self-centered attitude is vividly there. Who are those? When the self-grasping is gone, then the arhats. Arhats, how do they behave? Arhats, they don't want to live eternally to benefit sentient. No. But they still live. Why are they living? All these questions are dealt with in Pramanapatika chapter 2. Arhats, they continue to live, they are already liberated. They don't have to worry that when I die, I'll again have to take the samsara. They will not take the samsara. So they can die now. They can die now, and their body will be liberated. This body is extra burden for them. They can liberate it. But still they live. Why did we live? This is the question asked. So the answer given was that to repay the kindness of the Buddha. Because it is through the Buddha's kindness that he or she was liberated from samsara. Now I want to repay the Buddha. What's the best way to repay the Buddha? To help the sentient beings. Therefore the Buddha would be most happy that I have the sentient beings. So they continue to live in this body to help the sentient beings. And eventually they will leave. Why? Answer given is that their compassion is not as great as the Bodhisattvas. Their compassion is the limit. So when it reaches that limit, then they will leave this body. Okay, we'll stop here. Deyata om gati gati paravati arasam gati bodhisvaha deyata om gati gati paravati parasam gati bodhisvaha om gati gati paragati parasam gati bodhisvaha